Coming up, I'm going to share with you the top trends that you have to pay attention to get ready for our peak Q4 season in 2025. Stay tuned. What is up, App Nation? It is Steve P. Young, your friendly YouTuber who's going to help you grow your app downloads and revenues. We are the most affordable, most effective app marketing agency that you'll ever find in the whole wide world. All right, but today I really want to break down Appsflyer's new report that they just released, all about the latest and greatest trends in the e-commerce space. Now, these trends are still applicable if you're not in the e-commerce space, because gaming and e-commerce, they tend to be the leaders when it comes to creative app marketing strategies. So without further ado, let's get started. The first one, and for all you indies out there deciding whether you should go to iOS and Google first, just launch with iOS. Here is the number. iOS wins on conversion speed and loyalty. iOS users convert 1.3 days sooner than Android users, with a 39% higher first-time purchase rate and 68% stronger repurchase performance. Especially if you're in the e-commerce space, repurchase or repeat buyers is such a critical metric for you. The next trend I want to point out is remarketing. Super, super critical. Now, especially for e-commerce, remarketing is critical because as Q4 approaches and as acquisition costs rise, because there's so many advertisers competing for the same eyeballs, it's very important to use remarketing as your retention lever, right? You're really trying to find who has bought in the past and how you can remarket to these people so that you can back into your app and hopefully they purchase more items and they become repeat buyers. So very, very critical, this remarketing, because retention is a big priority. All right. And for those who are in not the e-commerce space, really think about lookalikes or think about people who have engaged with your product, but not necessarily bought anything. One of my early podcast interviews was with one of the growth leads at Peak, the brain training app. And what they did was once somebody activated a trial, they would remarket to those people to ensure that they stayed on the trial, because they knew once they got you to that subscription that your retention is going to climb and you're going to be a loyal user moving forward. So remarketing is going to be critical, especially if you're in the e-commerce space. The next trend that is applicable to almost every category, maybe except for games, because I'm not that familiar in that category when it comes to the most latest and greatest strategies, but web to app flows gain traction as key cross-platform route. Now, web to app for non-e-commerce apps, super, super critical. We've done a couple of videos highlighting web to app funnels and what makes the best funnel and best quiz. The other thing that if you're in the e-commerce space, you want to get your web users into the app as soon as possible. Now, speaking of web to app flows, let me break down Timu's web to app flow as an e-commerce brand. I saw one of their ads on Instagram. I clicked on it. They then say, get it in the app. All right, you can save 50% off. I go, nah, I don't want to do that. So I hit X. And then they hit me with a $10 offer, sign in to claim. I say, nah, again, and I hit X. Okay, so I'm here now and I see the special discount, and then a little pop-up appears and it says spin the wheel. So I was like, all right, fine, let me spin the wheel. So I spin the wheel, I get 58% off. Now get this offer in the app. They're always pushing me towards going into the app. So it's a great way for you to start getting, as an e-commerce brand, into the app. Now, if you're a non-e-commerce brand, really pay attention to web to app flows. They're going to be a really big driver, especially since Apple, again, to my first point, iOS users better than Android. Sorry, Android. But especially as Apple has made it so hard for all that post-back data to come into any ad platform, web-to-app flows for subscription-based apps, not in the e-commerce space, are very key as well. So web-to-app is going to be big no matter what category you're in. Now I'm going to summarize some of my key takeaways, okay? Test UA earlier to lower CPI risk. That's cost per install risk. Holiday acquisition is increasingly front-loaded, right? It's going to get super expensive during the holidays. So what you want to do is shift your spend into Q3 to reduce peak season costs. Makes sense. And then in Q4, rely more on remarketing to your existing users or people who've engaged with your ads. It's a very, very smart play, okay? So you're not trying to compete with all the new users and all the other companies looking for new customers. All right, I want to end on this, 5%. Remember that number. That's all you got to do. You got to increase your user retention by 5%, and that can increase profits by 25 to 95%. And this, the source of this stat is from Frederick Reichelt of Bain & Company. I don't know if I said that right, but essentially they invented the NPS score, the Net Promoter Score, okay? So they invented that. I believe them, okay? And we're trying to help one of our clients with this retention as well, because we're seeing trial to paid not meet the standard of that 30 to 40%, okay? So how do you do that? And here are the strategies. Accelerate your time to value. Obvious, right? Show users how valuable your app is. Now, this is Routinary. It's an app that we did a video on, but I want to highlight some of the things that they're doing really well. You see a paywall, go through the onboarding and all that stuff, so watch that video. But you see their paywall. If you hit X, or you can hit redeem, no matter what they do, the app should take you to your first routine. They already got my name, my username, so Steve's routine. Now I can adjust this. That's really cool part. They already have a template built in for me that I can add or adjust. So they make it super easy. And then once I have my routine, and within that routine, I have a bunch of tasks. Once I've done a couple of different tasks, they then hit me with a seed achieved. So they're making me feel good about doing my first routine, right? Not only did I have to create it and do all the tasks within that routine, but once I did that, they're making me feel good too. So they're really accelerating that time to value. The second thing I want to highlight is introduce advanced feature adoption. And here's a clever way that I saw them do it. Now, I have no idea if this works well or not, but I really like this idea. So within your dashboard, right? And if you got a tracker app or anything like that, really cool, right? So you can even do this with premium content, in my opinion. They say start a free trial or watch an ad to unlock. Now, I've seen different AI art generators do this exact strategy, and I really like it because you want to get people to use advanced premium features within your app, right? Give them a little bit of taste. Now, once they do that first ad, you can just force them to start a trial, right? You don't have to do it. You can play around with that, but I really like this ad idea. So I watch an ad, and I'm not going to make you watch that ad, but the feature is unlocked, okay? Now that they've seen it, guess what you can do next? Show them a discount. That's why I really like it. So instead of just showing that discount, which I have actually recommended previously, I really like this new idea, right? You could do both, but I really like this because at least this person has shown some intent in wanting to see some of those premium features, okay? All right, guys, that is it. Go check out that report right now, right after this video. I will link it up into the info card as well, and you can get that link in your favorite podcast or YouTube description. And if you're looking for an app marketing agency to help you out, well, go check us out at appmasters.com. And if you got anything out of this video, make sure you hit that like button. Leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on what you want to see in future videos or this video that you're watching now. Until next time, I'll see you on the next video.